Hey everybody, it's Coaster Dad from Coaster Kids. And usually Logan is sitting here and I'm behind the camera. But for this video, I'm up here and Logan is behind the camera. Say hi, Logan.
Hello.
And we are recording my top 15 favorite roller coasters. We get requests all the time. People want to know what my favorite coasters are. I've ridden all the same big coasters that Logan has ridden, over 200. I don't ride all of the Vacomas, and I don't ride all of the Arrows, and I don't ride all the kiddie rides. But I do ride all the big major rides. I've been to over 75 different theme parks, and definitely have my favorites. And so with this video, I'm going to share with you what my top 15 favorite coasters are. And once again, I'm not saying these are the best. I'm not saying these are the greatest. These are just my favorites. These are the ones that I love to ride. So let's get started. Number 15 and number 16 were really close. Two RMC coasters that I really enjoy riding. What just got bumped off the list a couple of weeks ago was number 16, which is Twisted Colossus at Six Flags Magic Mountain in California. And just a couple weeks ago, I rode one that bumped it off the list, which is Twisted Timbers at King's Dominion. Love this RMC coaster. It is smooth, it's fast, it's fun to ride. I was laughing my head off. I loved it at night. I loved it when we rode it almost at sunrise. And just a great coaster. That is my number 15, Twisted Timbers. Number 14 is Millennium Force at Cedar Point. This is the original Giga coaster. This is the granddaddy of them all. This is a fun ride. Everybody who rides this have fun. I know a lot of people complain about it. They say it's overrated. They call it Millennium Forceless. And if that's you, I think you got a bad attitude because this thing is fun. I love the long lift hill. I love the view at the top of the lake and the water and the rest of Cedar Point. I love it. It's one of my favorites. And so number 14, Millennium Force. Number 13 is Iron Rattler at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas in San Antonio, Texas. This is, I think, one of the most unique RMCs that I've ridden, and I've ridden almost all the RMCs in the world now. What I like about it is how it interacts with the quarry wall, how it kind of dives off of there and comes around, some cool angles to shoot it at and film it, which is something that's important to me. I hate coasters that I can't film. And it's just fun to ride. We rode it over and over again. The night ride is awesome. I like the car itself, how it's got the big rattlesnake on there. And I think that's an awesome ride. So that's my number 13. Number 12 is Mako at SeaWorld Orlando. When I rode this, I've used to ride, we ride Diamondback all the time. Diamondback is fun. You can ride it all day. I really like it. It really is a good coaster. I like Diamondback a lot. But when I rode Mako, I was like, oh, wow, it's taller, faster, smoother, more exhilarating. And some of you guys, I know it's probably not as forceful as you would like or as intense as you would like. But for me, I really like the B&M clamshell restraints. For me, those are the most comfortable restraints. I get a lot of floater airtime, which I like better than ejector airtime. I know that's blasphemy for some of you guys, Logan. I know you don't like that. But floater is better than ejector.
I forgive you.
So Mako is awesome. It's a fun ride. When we were down there, we've only been there once since Mako was built. And we just rode it over and over and over again, and it was so much fun. And so I love it. Number 11 is Phantom's Revenge at Kennywood. And this is an awesome coaster, first built by Arrow, which I heard kind of sucked. And then Morgan came in and fixed it up, and that's when we rode it. And this thing is an airtime machine. If you like airtime, it really is. They got like just that one little bar that you put down. And I really did feel like I was flying out of my seat, especially in the back row. I was concerned for my safety, but I was also laughing the whole time. And you know what? Logan loved it, and my wife Kathy loved it. And just all of us were just laughing our heads off when we got off of that coaster. And so that's got to be in my top 15 for sure. It's a really awesome coaster. Love Phantom's Revenge at Kennywood. And now for my top 10. Coming in at number 10 is Wicker Man at Alton Towers in the UK. And I gotta tell you, I really like GCI coasters. If you like fun coasters, how can you not like GCI? I think I've liked every GCI coaster I've ever ridden. I love Mystic Timbers. I like Prowler and Gold Striker and American Thunder and Joris and the Drac in, where was that, Netherlands?
Yeah.
And Troy was awesome. And did I mention Prowler? Prowler was awesome. Renegade. What's the one at Hershey Park? American Thunder? No, that's the one. That's the one at Six Flags St. Louis. Lightning Racer.
Yeah.
I've liked every GCI I've ever ridden. I think they're all fun, but my favorite is Wicker Man. And I'm one of the people, here's where I'm going to give it to you Europeans. I think theming matters. And the pre-show when you walk in there and they show you all that stuff on the screen, awesome.
The time has come for the Wonderland to rise. Together we shall feel the flame.
You're in on the ride itself, the tunnel that you go, a tunnel, a sculpture or whatever, I don't even know what it's called. But the thing that you go through, the giant Wicker Man thing, the tunnel at the end, it really, really was a great experience. It's a lot of fun. That's my number 10 coaster, Wicker Man at Alton Towers. Number 9 is Phoenix at Knoebels. And this is an older wooden coaster that was made by Philadelphia Toboggan Company, although I think they changed their name to Philadelphia Toboggan Coasters. PTC, we'll call them. This thing is so much fun. I couldn't believe how much airtime. You got that little buzz bar that comes down and you are coming out of your seat. I thought I literally felt like I was standing up for part of that ride. Like, that's probably the one coaster more than any other, even more for me than Phantom's Revenge, that felt like unsafe. Like, what are they doing letting people ride this coaster? And I laughed and laughed and laughed the whole time. It was so much fun. It's not that long of a coaster. It's not very tall. It's not very fast. But if you like fun coasters, you need to go to Pennsylvania and ride Phoenix at Knoebels, because it is so much fun. Coming in at number 8 is one that is not in Logan's top 10. Is it, Logan?
Not even close.
This is probably not a popular opinion for most people, but if you're talking about fun, exhilarating, awesome rides to ride, number 8 for me is Top Thrill Dragster at Cedar Point. From the very first time I rode this, I rode it in the front row. It scared the pants off me. You're like, all of a sudden you're accelerating so fast, and as soon as your mind gets around the fact that you're accelerating, you're going straight up. You're like, oh my God, we're getting pretty high. And as soon as your mind kind of figures that out, you're at the top of the hill, and talk about a view. Unbelievable view from the top of Top Thrill Dragster. And then you're going straight down, and as soon as your brain starts to think, oh my God, we're going straight, then you're going down straight again, you're coming into the brake run. It is so much fun. So I know it's short. What is it, like 30-some seconds total?
17.
17 seconds. It's a short experience. But you know what? Some of the funnest experiences of my life were pretty short. So it can be okay. And I really love riding it. I get frustrated sometimes that it's always broken down.
Everyone does.
That's been more broken down when we visited than any other coaster at any other park that we've experienced. In fact, we've been on it several times and had to get off. We've been next in line about 10 times when we had to leave. And so you get some minuses in that category, Top Thrill Dragster. But
that makes it more rare and more special.
yeah, I guess, because even people that go there to ride it don't always get to ride it. Here's my advice. If you're at Cedar Point and you see Top Thrill Dragster running, drop what you're doing and go get in line, because it's probably going to be your only chance to ride it. Coming in at number 7, speaking of rides that are almost always broke down, my number 7 coaster is Lightning Rod at Dollywood. And this is another coaster that I didn't really know what to expect. The hype was for the launch. We rode it the first season, and the launch is okay. But by far, what is awesome about it is the airtime you get. What do they call that? Quadruple down?
Yeah.
And the second half of that coaster is so amazing. And one of my favorite things to experience is when you come all the way around to that final brake run and it stops. I think Dollywood should put a camera right there, because people who are riding it for the first time always lose their mind right there. They're like, oh my God, what just happened? What was it? And it really, really is an amazing experience. And I know in some ways this is probably overrated. You know, Taylor's whole thing where he used to cry because he wasn't riding it. The amount of time that people had to wait to actually get on it. But it really is an awesome ride. It's one of my favorites. I highly recommend it. Get down to Dollywood. You know what else? While you're there, I love the food at Dollywood. Get yourself some cinnamon bread. I love the customer service at Dollywood. Probably the best of anywhere we've been. And so it's awesome. Lightning Rod. Recommend it. My number 6 is Expedition G-Force at Holiday Park in Germany. And I didn't really know what to expect when I rode this. I've heard some good things about it.
It's overrated, though.
Yeah, Logan says it's overrated, and you know, I kind of...
It's still awesome.
I wasn't sure if it was going to be better than Millennium Force or not, because I like Millennium Force a lot. And Logan and I rode it that first time, and I remember we came into the station, and Taylor and Chad and those guys were in the station, and I said, way better than Millennium Force. It really, really is. I don't know if it's faster. It feels faster. I don't think it's longer, but it is an amazing experience. You get some awesome, you know what I like about it? Ejector airtime without being excruciating. I mean, but you felt like you were riding a bucking bronco that whole time, and it was fun. We were laughing, we were having a good time. We rode it over and over that day. We got to do the last ride on the night of it, which was pretty cool, and then they let us ride it again right after that. Those kind of things enhanced the experience for me a little bit. And so I recommend it. If you can get out to Germany, man, you got to get on Expedition G-Force. And now to my top 5. Number 5, Logan is not going to like this. My number 5 favorite coaster of all time is Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point.
I'm out.
I knew Logan wasn't going to like this, but hey, this coaster is awesome, and it is really, really fun. I'll tell you, at the risk of sounding like the old man in the room, which I happen to be the old man in the room, it's a little too intense for me. I mean, seriously, if I ride this like once, I'm like, I need a break before I get back on it again. But if you haven't ridden it, I will tell you, it's everything people say that it is. It has got amazing airtime. It's got the way that it cuts back and through the track. What I like to do is when you get a chance, stand over by where the on-ride photos are and look up, and you can see that the whole thing is shaking, man, when it comes around. But it is a beautifully designed coaster. It's very well executed. And for RMC to take Mean Streak, which was awful, I hated Mean Streak. I wouldn't ride Mean Streak if you paid me. And to take that piece of trash and turn it into a beautiful work of art, it really is amazing. And so, and I do love it. I do love riding. It's just not, I got 4 other ones that I like riding even more. And so Logan, forgive me, bro. Number 5, Steel Vengeance.
Like you gave it so many positive thoughts, so I'll forgive you.
All right, all's forgiven. Number 4, and just edging out Steel Vengeance, and the only reason why is because I like riding this one more. I rode it, I don't know, 10 or 15 times in one day. Rode it over and over and over again. Laughed, loved it every time, and that is Shambhala at Portaventura in Spain. And this is my favorite B&M hypercoaster. It's basically take Diamondback and Mako and Behemoth and Nitro and all the other good B&M.
Not Apollo.
Well, not Apollo, that's garbage. But take all the really good B&M hypers and combine them and make it taller, faster, smoother, more exhilarating. That is Shambhala. And it has a beautiful view of the water too. And I know that doesn't matter to a lot of you coaster enthusiasts, but it matters to me. It's part of what makes it an enjoyable, fun experience is the view that you get. And so it has that. It's not really a splashdown. What's it called? Just like a water element where the jets squirt out. That's kind of cool. A lot of good angles to photograph this from. I really, really enjoyed it. I think it's unique. If you like B&M hypers, if you like that kind of experience, if you like floater airtime, this is the king of all B&M hypers as far as I'm concerned, at least all the ones that I've ridden. Coming in at number 3 is my personal favorite RMC coaster, and it is Wildfire at Kolmården Zoo in Sweden. And I know most of you haven't ridden this, you haven't had the opportunity yet. I recommend you put this on your bucket list to get out to Sweden. If you're an ACE member, you get in free to Kolmården. Kolmården Zoo is an amazing experience, and you go all the way to the back, you walk like 47 miles, and you get to the back, and here is this work of art that is amazing called Wildfire. And I tell you what edged it for me over Steel Vengeance, and again, might not matter to some of you guys, but it mattered to me, was the view. I've traveled all around the world. I've been in 46 different U.S. states. I've been in lots of different countries. But I will tell you, I've been to Bend, Oregon. I've been to St. George, Utah. I've seen the Grand Canyon. But for me personally, the most beautiful view I ever saw was at the top of Wildfire. You get up to the top of that coaster and you look off to your left. Logan, you got to tell me, man, that's a beautiful view.
That's awesome.
There's this pristine lake and these mountains and these trees, and it is unbelievable. It literally took my breath away. I did not expect to be riding an extreme RMC roller coaster and have my breath taken away by the view. And so that pushes it up to my number 1. It is a fun ride. I love all the elements in that. It's got some really cool elements. I think it's very unique how it gets up to the top and then it kind of goes around before it takes the dive. I call them barrel rolls, but what are those really called? Those elements.
Stalls?
Yeah, it's got that 0G stall. That's really, really cool. And we rode that over and over and over again. I think Logan rode it 20 times. I probably rode it 11 or 12 times. Very re-rideable, very fun. it'll be one of the best experiences of your life if you can get out to Sweden and give that a ride. Number 2 on my list of all-time favorite roller coasters is Fury 325 at Carowinds. And this is an awesome B&M Giga. It's the tallest Giga in the world. We've ridden now, right, Logan, most of the Gigas in the world. And and this one is still my favorite. And it's funny to watch how when it first came out, super hyped, it's the best. It was number 1 on Logan's list for a while. And then it started falling out of favor, and people rode it over and over again, and they started getting bored with it, which I guess is human nature. But I will tell you, it is still one of my very favorites. I rode Fury 325 in the front car at night with my son Logan, and it was one of the best experiences of my life. I will never forget it. The drop is exhilarating. It's comfortable to ride. It's not painful at all, which matters to me probably more than, Chad, I know if you're watching this, you like a coaster that, beats you up and makes you cry. I like something that's smooth and painless, and this is the ultimate combination of high, fast, smooth, painless, and fun is Fury 325. I love it. I love it. Could ride it all day. I like how they get people on and off pretty fast in terms of the capacity and the operations. Appreciate the crew of Fury 325 for doing that. One of the fastest I've seen where they're on and they're off and they're going. The line moves very fast. And so it's awesome. If you haven't ridden it yet, you got to get down to Carowinds, get on it. And then number 1, my favorite coaster I've ever ridden. It blew my mind. I loved it. I would like to ride it every day. It's by far my favorite, is Terran at Phantasialand in Germany. I didn't know what to expect when I rode this. I heard it was pretty good, but oh my gosh, this coaster is amazing. And I didn't know anything about it, so it like launches you out to start and you're moving along pretty fast, rapid transitions. This is an Intamin Blitz coaster. And the part that I thought it was going at its maximum speed when all of a sudden it like launches again with another launch, and it caught me off guard. I started cracking up. I laughed the whole second half of that coaster. I laughed coming into the station. I was laughing for 30 minutes afterwards. And we rode it again, and we rode it again. And I know it doesn't have any inversions. I don't think, does it?
No, it doesn't.
It's not the fastest coaster. I will tell you, it is beautiful. I mean, it is a work of art. They told us when we were there that it took a year to build the coaster and then a whole nother year to build all the rock and all the stuff around it. It's amazing. It's one of the most beautiful things that I've ever seen, man-made works of art anywhere ever. If that's all it was something people built to look at, it would be worth going to see. But it's also got a roller coaster in there. That's a really cool experience. And so that is my number 1, is Terran at Phantasialand. Got to get to Germany and ride Terran. Hey, by the way, that whole park, every ride at that park was awesome.
Yes.
It's the only park I ever went to where every ride was awesome, right? I mean...
Yeah, definitely not Blackpool.
Yeah, I mean, gosh. But their invert was an awesome invert. Their water ride was an awesome water ride. Their inside coaster winches was an awesome... Everything there is awesome. So kudos to you. And if anyone's watching this from Phantasialand, you guys got an awesome park over there. All right, that's it. That's my top 15 favorite roller coasters. Please don't get mad if your favorite's not on my list. Okay, I know there's a lot of awesome coasters that you guys love that are not on my favorite list. That's okay. I don't even care what your favorites are, but I do care what your parents' favorites are. So some of you kids, ask your parents what their favorites are. Have them comment in the comments below. And we did a contest with this to see who could guess it. So whoever won the contest, congratulations. Looking forward to see who wins. And hopefully we'll see you guys at some other parks. We're going to be doing more traveling in 2019. We're doing our first ever West Coast Coaster Kids Day at Knott's Berry Farm in March. And hope to run into a lot of you guys out there. Appreciate everyone who supports Logan and Coaster Kids. You guys have a great day, and be brave, and ride on.
Bye.